I'd like to call the Town Council meeting to order. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Paul.
Here.
Vice Mayor Lewis.
Here.
Councilmember Whitman.
Here.
Councilmember Hatton. Councilmember Starkey.
Here.
Mr. Lemack.
Here.
Mr. Lewis. Here. Mr. Holste. Here. Mr. Weinthal. Here. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion to excuse Councilmember Hatton?
Motion to excuse Councilmember Hatton.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you. Before we start, I'd like to take a few minutes to have a period of silence in the memory of a lovely Davie pioneer, Betty Ann Mize. Betty Ann passed away this past week, and there was a celebration of life for her this past Sunday. She's 87 years old and lived a wonderful life. Her husband, Jack, who was very, very well known in the town, passed away about 8 years ago. But Betty Ann was very active in the Women's Club. She was a legacy member, and we just know that we're going to miss her very much. Let's have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. We're going to start the evening off with an announcement from the Florida League of Cities 2023 John Land Years of Service Award. Erin Russell from the League, she's the Membership Program Specialist, is here to make that award.
Thank you, Mayor. And good evening, Mayor, council members, staff, and citizens. As stated, my name is Erin Russell. I'm the Membership Program Specialist from the Florida League of Cities, which is located in Tallahassee, Florida. And just for the benefit of the audience members who may be unfamiliar with the Florida League of Cities, we have served as the united voice for Florida's 411 cities, towns, and villages since 1922. And our goal is to meet the needs of cities by providing elected officials and staff with advocacy, education, resources, and other services. And our mission is to always stand up for the rights of government closest to the people, including governments like the town of Davie. So I want to take a moment to say thank you for being an active and dedicated member of the Florida League of Cities. And I want to give a special thank you to Councilmember Starkey, who serves on the League's Board of Directors. So thank you for your leadership. It's my honor to be here today as a surprise to present Mayor Judith Paul with the John Land Years of Service Award in recognition of her 20 years of service to the town of Davie. And I said surprise because she did not know that this was for her this evening, so I hope it's a good surprise.
It is.
The John Land Years of Service Award was named in recognition of Apopka Mayor John Land, who served his city for 60 years. And so this award is designed to recognize municipal elected officials like Mayor Paul for their extensive, dedicated years of service to their community. And the reason why we celebrate and recognize this achievement is, as I said a moment ago, local government's the government closest to the people. And so that means through your role as an elected official, you have touched countless of lives, some in this room through your work. And 20 years of service shows the faith your community has in you to look out for the town of Davie. And so, if I may, I'd like to read the resolution I'm here to present you with this evening, and then I'll walk up to the stage to hand it to you. The resolution says, whereas America's municipal governments have long relied upon the unselfish leadership of their citizens for local self-government, and Florida's municipal governments share the time-honored role as the level of government closest to the people. And whereas this reliance places extraordinary responsibilities upon citizen legislators, our municipal elected officials, who make significant sacrifices of their time and energies on behalf of their citizenry, making this commitment a true labor of love. And whereas municipal leaders strive for excellence in the governance of their city, town, or village and commit themselves to providing quality services, governing effectively, and working to improve the quality of life. And whereas several terms in office are a high compliment that voters give to an official, and with these years of experience comes a strengthening of wisdom, discernment, and strong leadership skills that bring tremendous value to the municipal governments of Florida. And whereas Judith Judy Paul has held office in the town of Davie for 20 years and is recognized for this achievement.
Thank you very much.
So on behalf of the Florida League of Cities, I want to say congratulations and thank you for your municipal service.
Thank you so much. You're going to take a picture. Wow.
Sorry.
That's going to look nice on my wall. In my little office, this will take up the whole office. Thank you. I really, really appreciate it. It was a surprise, knowing how active Susan is in the League of Cities. I thought it was an award for her. And she says, well, I got my award a few years ago. But I really appreciate it because we've worked so hard, and the initiative in terms of local government, keeping government local, which you strive for, is very, very important to us as we are faced every day with challenges where the state legislature tries to take away some of our powers and our responsibilities. And it's had a great impact on us. And you have done a great job. The League, Susan, and all the people that go to Tallahassee have done a good job to save some things and work very hard on trying to save some more. So continued work, good work from the League. And I know the League is Susan's passion, and she is so involved in that. And we appreciate all the time that she gives to the League on our behalf. So thank you again for this award. I appreciate it.
Mayor,
Yes.
but never forget, this is about you.
Oh,
So thank you so much for what you do to allow us to do the jobs we do. From everybody in staff and all of us at council, you've been a true leader, so thank you for that.
I thank you. Appreciate that. I hope that will come through tonight. We want to start out with the. Did I excuse Carol?
Yes.
Okay. I want to start out with the approval of the consent agenda. I'm going to pull 1, 2, 5, 8, and 9. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Oh, I forgot. Does anybody else? Do you want to pull anything? You want to pull anything? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I remembered myself. I caught myself. So could I have a motion now to approve the consent agenda without 1, 2, 5, 8, and 9?
So moved.
All those in favor, is there a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. This is very exciting. I'm going to take number 1, which is the National Hispanic Heritage Month. I'm sorry to say that Judge Robert Diaz, who was going to come tonight to accept this, was unable to come because of illness. But I just wanted to say that we were recognizing National Hispanic Heritage Month in Davie from September 15th to October 15th. And may I have a motion to approve this proclamation?
Motion approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. 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 Any, I didn't hear? Aye, good. Oh, that's unanimous. Thank you very much. Number 2, this is very exciting. We are recognizing the Nova Southeastern University's men's golf team, and the Sharks have done it again. We are seeing more and more awards for the various teams of the Sharks. May I have a motion to approve this proclamation?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. Mr. Lewis will read the proclamation, and we have the team standing here with Coach.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas the mayor and town council of the town of Davie, Florida, recognize rare athletic achievement and give special honor and commendation to the athletic teams that through hard work, determination, and extraordinary efforts have distinguished themselves among their competitors. And whereas one sex exemplary team is the 2022-2023 men's golf team from Nova Southeastern University, known as NSU. And whereas the NSU men's golf team earned its 3rd team national championship, and whereas the NFU men's golf team members, Michael Hay, Will O'Neill, Joseph Serra, earned Division II Ping Men's Golf All-American honors. And whereas NSU coach Joey Marino was named the Golf Pride Grip South Region Coach of the Year, and whereas NSU men's golf team and its coach, Joey Marino, deserve recognition and have earned a rightful place at the top of their sport. And whereas the achievement of the 2022-2023 men's golf team is something all of South Florida, especially the town of Davie, home of Nova Southeastern University, can take pride in the historic accomplishment, setting an example of excellence that all athletic teams aspire to, but so few ever achieve. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the mayor and town council of the town of Davie do hereby proclaim Thursday, September 21st, 2023 as Nova Southeastern University Men's Golf Team Day.
Coach Marino, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate the recognition. We all had an unbelievable season last year, ending it with the national championship and bringing the 3rd one to NSU, like you mentioned. So there must be something in the water in Davie, but it was an amazing year, and thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Fins up.
Let me get in at this time, although it's not until the public hearing. I'm still working on the consent agenda, but we need to look at additions and tablings. An applicant has requested that item 11, a variance, be tabled to December 6th. May I have a motion?
Motion to table 11 till January?
December 6th.
Oh, 11 it shows here from, okay, December 6th, 2023.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. Staff is requesting that item 13, a variance, be added to the agenda so that we can table it.
Motion to add
Thank
number
you.
13.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. May I have a motion to table same to October 18th?
Motion to table 13 variance to October 18th.
Is there a Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. Okay, that takes care of that. Okay, number 5, we just need to make a notation to approve that as revised. There was a change on it.
As
The number 5, to approve as revised.
okay.
Okay? May I have a motion to approve number 5 as revised?
Motion to approve number 5 as revised.
And there's a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you. Okay. 8 and 9. This is the plat and site plan for Midtown Davie. I'd like to have a brief presentation. We'll take it from the applicant. Or the staff first. It's up to you. How do you?
Yeah, usually the staff. He's anxious.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. For the record, David Abramson, representing town staff. The items before you are both a plat and site plan for your consideration. The subject site is approximately 1.7 acres in size, and it is generally located on the northwest corner of Orange Drive and southwest 61st Avenue. The proposal is to allow the development of a new 4-story multifamily residential building consisting of 136 dwelling units and approximately 4,000 square feet of commercial space. This level of development is consistent with the restrictive note on the boundary plat. Vehicular access into the building will be through a parking garage off both Orange Drive and southwest 61st Avenue. A residential lobby is also located in this area on the ground floor fronting Orange Drive, with community amenities including a pool, patio, landscape areas situated north of the building, and a rooftop courtyard deck. The site plan includes 9 design variations as well as a design incentive to achieve the 1 additional floor on the building. This project is subject to inclusionary housing requirements, and the applicant is proposing to pay in lieu of providing the affordable houses. The applicant has performed traffic study impact as well as a parking analysis for the project, both which have been added to the planning report. The applicant also has fulfilled the public participation requirements with online video presentation from August 2022. Staff finds the applications complete and suitable. Please note there is multiple conditions imposed on the project within the staff report. Thank you.
The applicant?
Mayor, members of the council, my name is Bill Laystrom. I'm here tonight excited to present to you the Midtown Davie project. To give you a little background on this project, we've been working on this with your staff and engineering team to look at Southwest 61st and Orange Drive. But the story here really starts back in the mid-1990s when the town was looking at what to do with the Davie Road, Orange Drive areas as a planning method of, look, we're starting to get old, I'll call it old and tired, and we need to do something. We've got McDonald's, we've got Taco Craft, we've got Kentucky Fried Chicken, we have Flashback Diner, we had Fluvio's back, we had a bunch of older businesses along that corridor, but they were not thriving and it was starting to slow down. And so the town started the planning process and created a regional activity center, which is a large area that included the site that we're on today, as well as all the projects that you see along the Davie Road corridor. And as that went along, 7 years later, you created the code that went with that regional activity center, which we're going to be talking about a little bit today. And that's been in place since the mid-2000s, and you're now seeing those projects come forward, the Zona project and the Lost project, as well as other projects on Davie Road, and now we have an opportunity to do a redevelopment project on 61st and Orange, which is kind of the, I call it the southeast terminus of that plan, and it's part of the Regional Activity Center. And so when we looked at this site, one of the critical things the town was doing in parallel with us was looking at road improvements both on 61st and on Orange Drive, including the bridge, on Griffin Road side as well as on our side. And so the first thing, and you'll see that because the first item is the plat, as well as the site plan that we'll be dedicating right away to improve those roadways and create the new lane system that I'll describe in a few minutes. But I first wanted to show you the project and show you what we were looking at, and we've come up with a video. I'm not good at videos, but I'm trusting the clerk's team to help me out. And this gives you kind of, it'll rotate around the site. We're ready when you are. But it's going to rotate around the site. So this is the Orange Drive side. Now we're coming around to the entrance on Orange Drive. These are commercial retail businesses on the first floor and 3 stories of the residential above. We have amenities on the top, and you'll also see we have a pool area in the back. Now you're coming around to 61st, and this is 61st. Now there's retail at the southern side of the building, and then as you come past our entranceway, we have a number of kind of residential lofts rather than the retail. You're going to hear us ask, we've got some metal railings around it. That's one of the design variations. Now you're in the back of the project. We have an 8-foot wall separating us from our neighbors to the north. There's our pool feature. And tucked in there is our parking garage, which is included within the building. And now this is the western elevation, which would be facing toward the garden restaurant and those projects, and still having the wall. And now you're back on Orange Drive. I do want to call your attention to the improvements to Orange Drive. You'll see there's now will be, with the new roadway plan, three lanes headed southbound, or actually eastbound, so that you can make the turn at 61st, either a left or a right. There will also be improvements to 61st if you're coming southbound on 61st. There will now be enough lanes so that you can go left, right, or through, spreading out that traffic. And with the storage for each of those lanes, it should improve the traffic flow through that intersection. We did also do an extensive traffic study of that particular area, and we actually found that the timing of those lights is extremely inefficient, let's put it that way, and that we believe with a pretty easy request from Broward County that they will, and it's a condition of our approval, that they will retime those lights so that it improves the efficiency of the trips going through those. One of the future things that you may see coming on some of your major roads, like University Drive, I know, is already in the queue for what's called adaptive lights, which actually are lights that take actual pictures and data from an intersection and then determine exactly how much time the left turn, the right turn, all the different functions of the traffic light will do. And you're going to see a significant improvement of traffic based on those type of improvements. Here we're actually doing physical improvements, and as I said, we'll be dedicating some of that right-of-way for this site. Now, one of the things about your code is you do have a design incentive. In fact, there's 4 or 5 different incentives in order to go from the 3-story to the 4-story, and one is that you increase the size of and caliper of the landscaping on site. So we have used that as our incentive. It is a design incentive. We've provided it. It's part of the code. We do have a number of design variations, and I do want to talk about those briefly. And then the design variation is basically, it's not a variance. It's a, the code is written a certain way based on what in 2000, that's why I started with in 2005, what the vision was. And then we're asking for some revisions to that on this particular project. And where's my Jason with the, let's you pick which one we start with. So we'll do the right-of-way first. So Orange Drive requires additional right-of-way in order to complete the improvements that the town's contemplating. So in addition to the right-of-way that you previously received on these sites, with the approval of this project, we will also be doing the additional right-of-way dedications that you see in, it's actually item 8, the plat. Okay, which one? Okay, so on the design variations, you have a couple of, I call it frontage requirements. On our, we have probably 5 lofts on our 61st Street 61st Avenue side that have railings and a little stoop. Those railings and stoop require your variation from, we could just leave them with nothing, but we thought activating it to the street would be an excellent way to make those units more accessible. So we have added a railing and also a stoop to those. We've also added an entranceway on Orange Drive as well as Southwest 61st. When this ordinance or set of ordinances was originally contemplated, they were contemplating having alleyways in the back of projects, which you see along Davie Road. In the case of Orange Drive, there's no place for the alleyway. So we have asked for relief to allow a right-in, right-out on Southwest 61st and on Orange Drive. The Orange Drive, as much as anything, is to relieve the traffic concerns that may be there for 61st. They are going to be right turn, right out only, so there will be no left out or left in on Southwest 61st, and quite frankly, there won't be any, we believe, on Orange Drive as well. Oh, he's going fast, or I'm going too fast for him. We have also have some smaller units similar to what we did with the Lofts project that you may recall we brought in approximately a year ago. Those, for instance, a one-bedroom, 680, 690 square feet for some of them rather than 750. One of the things that we found is all of these rentals are based on the square footage of the units, so we're actually able to offer the units at a somewhat less rent as a result of that. So we do ask you to consider the reduced unit sizes. They're gorgeous units. They should be fantastic. Speaking of kind of apartments in general, one of the things that is often overlooked is just the tax revenues that are generated by what amounts to an entire commercial building. Even though we use the word residential for apartments, it's actually classified as commercial for the purposes of taxes. And we did just a quick comparison of what you're getting now for the four or five properties that create our whole site, and the total tax bill is about $36,800 for all the properties combined, and the town of Davie will receive approximately $11,000 of that. That's their current taxes that you receive today. With this project, we've estimated just the construction cost to be approximately $35 to $40 million. At that rate, we would have about $738,000 in total taxes, of which the town would be receiving about $233,000. And remember, these are the taxes that you put into your budget that are general tax dollars, so that they go to, we'll be paying the fire fee, and of course the commercial properties pay a significant portion of the fire fee. And with projects like this allows you the opportunity and the flexibility. I know you're going through your budget now, and there's always that pressure on the tax rate side to not raise taxes, and these projects are what's going to bring life to that district, but also bring relief so that you can do the things you need to do in your budget and still not have to raise the taxes of the residents both in this district and in every district throughout the town. And projects like this, I've been doing a number of these mixed-use projects, and particularly in the corridors that are old and tired. And I am finding not only is there a direct benefit, the tax dollars, the new buildings instead of the old buildings. If you have had the chance to go out there, you know what is on the site today certainly needs to be replaced. But they also have an indirect effect, and that's probably the most important thing and what really triggered the RAC in the first place, which is with the additional customers, the additional income, the additional people in that area, it creates a much better opportunity for your other businesses to thrive. These folks are going to go to the Garden Cafe. These folks are going to go to businesses on Davie Road. They're going to go throughout the district as close as they can get. And they're going to be Davie residents with Davie businesses even on University Drive. Shorter distances, shorter travel, and it provides a housing opportunity where housing is a challenge at all levels. I just was working to try to find a place for my son, and it was very, very difficult. And, he's got at least a reasonable job working for me, but to find a place is very, very difficult. And this will also provide funding for your affordable housing fund in addition to the units that are available here, and we hope at a more reasonable price because of the square footages that we've asked you to consider. The extra floor is not a design variation. It is a design incentive. It's in the code, and it's something that is permitted as part of the incentives for developers like this to put $40 million into this project. We've been working very hard at it. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. I may have gone on too far, or if there's a specific design variation you'd like to talk about a little bit more, I'm happy to do it. But I think this is all benefit and will kick off this entire district. I do want to have my traffic engineer just speak briefly because I want him to just talk in a little bit more detail, particularly about the retiming of the lights at 61st and Orange. So Tom, if you can, your name, address.
Oh, so Mr. Hall is he was chosen by you to do the traffic study?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Tom Hall. I'm the president of Thomas A. Hall Incorporated, located at 1355 Adams Street in Hollywood, Florida. In regards to this project, first of all, I personally feel a need to commend your staff and also your town traffic consultants. Did a really excellent job of reviewing our report and working with us to make it as strong and as comprehensive as possible. That's a nice way of saying that they made me work a lot harder than I wanted to, but they did a great job. And in regards to the proposed mitigation for this project, there's a couple of things that Bill didn't mention that are town improvements that are being done that are actually going to make operations on the study area roadways work better. And that, of course, is the future widening of the bridge crossing the canal there between Griffin and Orange on 61st Avenue. And also some improvements that the Florida Turnpike is doing down at the Turnpike interchange. So those things are going to really help in the traffic in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. But the one thing that we saw was, as Bill indicated, that we could make some changes and optimize the traffic signal timing at every intersection within the study area. And the study area, by the way, was Davie Road at Griffin and Orange, and 61st Avenue at Griffin and Orange, and the Florida Turnpike at Griffin and Orange. And at every single intersection, we were able to find improvements in the timing of the signals there that would facilitate more efficient movement of traffic. Doesn't make everything perfect, but it's vastly improved over the way it is right now. So we look forward to implementing that, and Broward County Traffic Engineering Division, as you probably know, are the ones that are responsible for maintaining the traffic signals there. So that's why we say that we'll be coordinating with them on the implementation of revised timing. It is their call to do that. So that's basically what we're proposing. If there's anything else that you have questions of me, I'm happy to answer.
Well, I'd like to hear from the public first, and then if we have any questions or if there are comments by council. I know I have extensive comments to make.
Understood.
We'll do that first. Those individuals from the public who would like to come up and speak, hopefully you filled out your speaker's form, and you can just line up in the center aisle and state your name and address, please.
Okay, my name is Janice Olson at 5630 Southwest 54th Street in Davie. I've been a resident and property owner for 57 years. I'd like to mention, I did not see any public notice or signs on this property for the planning and zoning or the council hearings. I believe that this is too high a density for 136 apartments and none with affordable housing and including a commercial component. The height at 4 stories is too high. There is not enough parking for this project. There are traffic jams at Southwest 61st Avenue, Orange Drive, and Griffin Road during all times of the day. There are 2 schools south of Griffin Road and Southwest 61st Avenue called the AEF Academy and Daycare next door, which creates more traffic jams. There is a dedicated school zone reducing speed to 20 miles per hour during certain hours. I believe any plans on widening Orange Drive are way into the future. There's no way to widen Southwest 61st Avenue because of the bridge, the way it is now. The fire rescue is not able to directly access the building in the event of an emergency. The bridge at Southwest 61st Avenue and Orange Drive is very old, one lane north and south only. It accommodates 2 vehicles in each direction. It's a constant backup of on all the roadways. It's an F-rated bridge. This proposal is very sparse on landscaping. Please vote no on this proposal. There are too many obstacles. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Evening, Council. Eric Swally here. We have a real big problem here at this bridge in 61st. It's only a bridge long enough for 5 cars to stand on, and when it's time to turn left, it could really hold up the traffic across Griffin. Right now, the traffic signal can hardly handle this. I don't know what you could do about traffic signalization. There's always the magic word to fix it all. But there's no way that you could possibly add all this extra traffic onto this little bridge that wants to these people are all located on the left side. It happened to be a left turn off of the bridge going northbound. It's got a double yellow line flanking both main roads. You can't turn left into the building from 61st. If you did, it would cause a backup as well. But you have to go 4 blocks up north to 41st Court to turn a U-turn to get back into the ingress. Double yellow on both sides. I mean, it's crazy. People are not going to be able to come in from downtown and be able to turn left into their property, unless they have to come around down through the neighborhood, down 61st to get in. Now, I live right south of 61st and that bridge on Griffin. Every day we have a backup of traffic that goes, it's a quarter mile, 3-light wait for people at rush hour. We know because they stand out in front of our yard, the traffic. So I know for sure that a little bit of distance in signalization is not going to work. The future land use plan shows that commercial is narrowing down as it approaches Turnpike. That's the reason for that is because DOT does not want to have a bottleneck before the Turnpike. And we've already had a variance from the Palomino Lake, which is a 28-acre across the street from this, and we've had to absorb all the traffic of 200 townhomes, where originally it was just 18 homes and 500 foot of commercial. But no, there was a variance where, well, we're going to double that commercial, and so now it's 1,000 feet. But that fell through. But now we're left with what end result was 200 townhomes. We're taking all that traffic and also the water usage of all the future planners. And so I hear people on the council say, well, what do we know about design? The future land use plan should be adhered to. And so now you have almost half of the whole neighborhood worth of density. I figure from Davie Road to 61st Avenue, there are 16 homes. On both sides of the street, that's 32. This is about 4 or 5 streets worth of residency, all on that left turn point at the bottleneck of traffic. And so you're not able to turn left. And people are not going to adhere to that double yellow line. They're certainly going to turn left there. And then also this project has parallel parking in the front, 7 slots of parallel
Eric,
parking on Orange.
Your time is up, Eric. You need
Can
to.
I have another 3 minutes? My wife.
Okay, you give him your 3 minutes? I do. Okay. I now pronounce your Manaway.
Okay.
I do.
I'll move along. I have a lot. What happens to a school bus? Where does that stand? Where do the delivery trucks go when it packages for 136 people, apartments? The traffic is just a horrible thing. But when it comes to the P&Z, were not happy about a lot of the different aspects. One was the fire. Fire trucks cannot ingress and egress this building. And they cannot go around the west side of the building or the north side of the building. But we were told that there's a 10-foot corridor where the firemen could run a hose down the corridor to access the west side of the building and the north side of the building. I went to the town hall today and looked at those plans, and there is a 10-foot landscaping easement, but there's an overhang of half that easement that cantilevers out. You don't notice it in the photos, but now you're restricted in being able to get a fire hose there first, and then I noticed that there's a whole lot of trees. This is planted up. So now it's almost impossible to get a fire hose around the back. And so then it has to go up 63 feet, 63-foot, 0.3 inches to get to the top of this building. Plus I have to go over a pool. So it really is a problem there that it was a little bit misleading to say that they had a 10-foot access through this back corridor that they told planning and zoning. So this place is just way too dense. If you can't drive a fire engine around the thing, please, you got to reconsider this. Now, they're saying it's conditional upon this traffic light working. And let's hold them to it, because there's just no way that a signalization of timing is going to fix this. It's at maximum capacity now, and there's still a backup. There's nothing that could really alleviate this. What happens to the future? What happens to the future building of lots to come? It's already at a maximum. Now you're putting on a whole half a neighbor, 5 streets worth of neighborhood. And all this, the homes in this neighborhood, eventually in the future, are want to go 2 stories tall. And so there's a whole lot more resources going to be needed, sewer and water and sewer. Turns out that this has a septic tank, I found out today on it. So I don't know how a septic tank is going to absorb 136 units. Plus, the garbage, there's only 2 containers, 2 dumpsters. So it's about 70 bags of garbage each. I don't know how, it's rushed through. What happened to the people's community input?
Thank you.
There were none. I went there today. There was nothing posted
Your time is
today
up.
about today's meeting. There's no notification to the neighborhood.
Eric.
Nobody's here.
Eric, your time is up. and
Thank you very much.
You've repeated everything.
Please vote.
So,
Please vote no on
Okay.
this. Let's slow down, have a good look at this before we.
thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wants to speak? That's it? Okay. I'll close. Did I have a public hearing message on that? Was that considered the public hearing?
Yes.
Okay, so I can close the public hearing? Okay. All right. I have about 50 pages here of notes that I am going to go through, and then I'd like to hear from the district individual. But I just want to start off by saying that, there's an old saying, and this fits it very well. I think everybody is panicking because land is becoming scarce, and they're rushing to build, and to build things that are really much bigger than we wanted. And so this particular parcel, I envision, it's like the old saying, you're trying to put 10 pounds of manure into a 5-pound bag. That's about as good as I can put it. Or a 10-foot foot into a 5-foot shoe. The size of the property is an issue. I know, and I have in front of me all of your paperwork. And I think the one thing that bothered me the most, and I know it's in the code, and I just want to bring this out to council. This is the third item that I've had a problem with in the last year. Ames, the gas station, now this. And all of those changes were made to code in that 3-year period when I wasn't sitting on council to keep an eye on everything. So I kind of blame myself. I shouldn't have retired, and maybe we wouldn't be in this position today. But yes, it's in the code. But I think personally that what we envisioned for Davie Road is now trying to be applied to Orange Drive. And I just don't think it works. And the one that bothers me the most, and granted, I know the people asked this on P&Z and they were told it was, allowed by law, and that is being able to increase the caliper of your trees in order to get a fourth story, an extra story. No, there they are. I don't know. This is, as I said, this was passed in 2008, and I find that absolutely despicable. And for something like that to allow additional density, I mean, I'm a tree hugger. I love trees, but this doesn't make sense. And I'm going to make a recommendation tonight that we, and I'll do it later, that we take immediate action to amend this ordinance and get rid of some of these incentives that have been plaguing us in this particular development so that they can't happen again. But still, I have more problems. I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into some of the things with the traffic and a few other points, but I'm going to go and listen to Michelle first.
Thank you, Mayor. I've been waiting a long time to see changes downtown. Even before I held this title, my family and I attended all the meetings as plans were made many years ago to redevelop and change the bad things happening in downtown. We may have some people who don't like change, but I have talked to many who do. They may not come out to talk, but they have spoken with me. The traffic we are seeing is coming from outside as they pass through, not our number of residents. We can't stop doing what we planned, as we have so many public transportation plans that I hope many of the people that move in will walk, take a bus, or use other means. I know with Orange Drive improvements, they will like to stroll the linear park like I do and enjoy the exercise in cleaner areas. I like seeing people out with their children and pets. I thought the plan was to bring people to the downtown, not just to visit, but to stay and enjoy both living in the different cowboy cultural area in our arena. Why did council put these opportunities for incentives and design choices in the code if they were not going to allow them to be considered? Some have said that more traffic in local areas slows people down and pushes them to drive where they are supposed to on the larger roads and more lanes. If the bridge is bigger in the future, I'm concerned that more people will use it and bring more traffic as a cut-through. I had asked for certain restrictions on no left turn in or out on 61st, which has been done. I don't have a good reason to say no, as the project meets the master plans and CRA redevelopment goals.
Susan, do you have any comments?
When I first saw this, I had some concerns as well, but I gave it an option of going through the process and understanding that as we evolve, changes have always been made. And with staff and all their diligence, I know they've done a great job at trying to make sure that many of the concerns, not only they have, but what they heard on council. We cannot speak to each other except for up here. But staff does take note of some of the issues that we all have as individuals. Michelle is correct, and I honestly want to tell her, I commend you for pointing those facts out that this is something that has been planned and long planned. I mean, at some point in time, though, we do get to the point where we feel like we might have a little bit too much, and I've been saying that to staff, a little bit too much of these apartments, and maybe we ought to start looking at some of these other areas that we really want and adding additional commercial, because, you know, when Wall Street fails us, I've said before, it's our commercial and our small businesses that'll sustain us through those hard times, and our residents, yes, are needed to be there to offset that. So it's a tightrope balancing act, and it's called smart growth. You've got to do a little bit of both to have a sustainable community. I've heard over time, I've heard from our residents that, you know, just recently about the traffic that we have and the traffic concerns that we have. I've read the study, and Judy brought it for us. I've read the backup. I've listened to the council meeting, the site plan and planning and zoning meeting, and listened to everything that they had to say as well. I've met with the applicant, so for full disclosure, I've met with the designer, architect, and with the attorney. And my concerns were simply, again, the traffic as well as the ingress and egress, as well as the height. However, when you look at the offset, again, and maybe this is something to Judy's point that we want to go back and look at, it wasn't designed as a given that they get the fourth story by right. It was designed to have the caliper of those trees to increase on a case-by-case basis as staff looked to necessarily where it would be appropriate, not in every case, but where it might be appropriate. So this was one of those moments when I looked at it and I said, yeah, I can see this. I can see this. Again, I didn't like the small loft-size apartments. But then when you factor in all the people who can't afford to live where they work or play anymore, it's really important. Our students coming in from the universities, we had many of them here today. If they wanted to attend school and not live in dormitories, they might be living in a loft apartment and taking an effort into the synergy that might take place in a downtown that we're trying to create, our little bit of our cowboy town. So I looked at some of the things that the residents brought up, and yes, I know, Eric, I respect you for many of the things that you've participated with us over the time. And we do try to accommodate many of the comments that have been made. And the timing of the lights are critical, and it will be critical as we go forward and new technologies come forward. We do have plans to widen that bridge, and that was also a big concern. So, you know, I mean, this is going to be a tough decision for this council. I'm going to listen and hear what else is being done, because I know Judy had requested we're already failing on our peak hours. And it's just a matter of time. If we don't make necessary improvements on the road, then it's going to be even worse. And I think Orange Drive has scheduled with FDOT some improvements along there. We've had public meetings at Sunny Lake that had brought that information forward from FDOT. So I'd like to hear more. I'd like to hear if there's any other comments that the mayor has, and if they can be addressed by both the applicant or if staff has ideas on that, I'd like to hear them as well and hear what my council members all have to say, Marlon as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Excuse me. I've given this a lot of thought, and you know, I appreciate where you're coming from, Mayor, and I appreciate everyone that lives there. And I especially appreciate, you know, Michelle, that's your district, and you know what's going on there. You have your ear to the ground. You meet with your neighbors and the people. So I respect tremendously what you're saying. I want to tell a story, and I've told this before, and it has a lot to do with how I feel about the east part and the downtown. I was at a party a number of years back for my family that's a doctor in Miami, and you know, you get a bunch of doctors around, and obviously there's a lawyer. And somebody introduced me to this attorney and introduced him that I was a council member in the town of Davie. And he said, oh, I was just in the town of Davie, and he said, a very blighted area. And, you know, if you don't know me, I took offense. I took a high offense for him saying that about my town. And I said, how in the world can you say that about the town of Davie? You haven't seen anything in Davie. He said, well, I had to get something at Broward College, and I got off at the Turnpike, came down Orange Drive, went up Davie Road to the college, and that's all I saw. And I thought, wow, this is a rough-looking town. And I thought, you know, if I'm honest, at the time he said that, he was right. You know, we've needed to improve the east part of Davie. We have our CRA, our RAC. We had planned for the changes in this area that would support what we're wanting to do in the other parts of Davie. Is this perfect? No, but what is perfect? You talk one floor, that's 9 feet. Is 9 feet really that different? Compared to what's there now, I think I have to say this is an improvement of what we see. I think that if we can get what's supposed to be coming down to Davie Road, we can add these things like this. I think it's going to be tough because we're going to be under a flux, and it's going to be difficult for people to accept. But once we get these things in, there'll be the restaurants, there'll be the people downtown. I already see the changes coming now. And I think 4 or 5 years down the road, I think you're going to look back and you're going to like that part of town. It's not going to be old school Davie, but I got news for you. Old school Davie is left a long time ago. My mother's family came here 3 generations ago. I was born in Miami. If I look at my house, and my mother has all kind of things from her mother and her mother's mother of what Miami was. My aunt went to a school in Miami that had the high school, the junior high, and the elementary all in one building. That was back then in Miami. It's changing. We can't stop the change. We have to plan for it and do the best we can. But it's going to change whether we like it or not. And I think Michelle would say, she's waited a long time for East Davie to change. And I don't think we could throw a monkey wrench into the plan to stop somebody that wants to invest millions and millions of dollars in our town. So I'm telling you, if you hadn't read the tea leaves by now, I'm going to support this project. Is it perfect? No, but I'm going to support it.
Now, it looks like I got a long way to go here. You know, we can improve this. It just didn't have to be this intense. The building is very nice. The project is nice. It just doesn't fit here. It's just a little too big. And I spoke with our engineer the other day, and he said that they've put out for the bridge. What documents are they called, Jonathan? The specs or something like that, whatever.
Yeah, we hired and engaged in a consultant to look at the traffic data and create a conceptual design for the bridge so that we can go ahead and move forward with grant applications to be able to move forward with the implementation.
And you
of that
did
bridge.
tell me that you figured that would take about 5 years.
Yeah. By the time you do that, then you go to you get your grant, you do your design, and you implement.
Okay. So now we're talking about some of the improvements to Orange Drive to deal with already intersections that are at F, D, E, and F prior to. Then they're saying you're going to fix the lights and we'll bring it back up to D. Never a C. I mean, I find D, E, and F still unacceptable, no matter what. And I am concerned about the amount of traffic, whether they can limit the construction vehicles and the trucks and everything from coming across that bridge. I mean, it just, concerns me tremendously. It was admitted on page 10 of the traffic study that there are serious issues on these roads. And I'm concerned. I know what we go through with FDOT and how important it would be for the entire area for that mast arm to be moved and 61st and Griffin and a turn lane put in there. And we need FDOT. We need some sort of a commitment from FDOT. We've got to have that included in this. I've spoken with Mr. Laystrom. I put that on record that I have spoken with him, and I even talked to him about the possibility of at least removing the commercial in order to bring it down to 3 stories. And I was told that it was financially impossible to do that. And that's the old story. Money talks. Yes, we want to see improvements, but Orange Drive is one of the last roads that we have that has a little bit of rural feel to it. We've got Griff's Western. That's what panics me, because I don't know if this is a fact, but I was told that that property that was sold had belonged to the Griffins. And that really bothers me, because if Griffin sells, there'll be nothing left of that historical aspect of Davie that makes us an equestrian and cowboy town. And that's what I fear, that this kind of development makes that land so valuable that they're going to sell, and we're going to have another project just like this. And that's going to be what we're going to see. So this is one of the reasons why immediately after this meeting, I want the administration to get with staff and to get that ordinance changed right away, so that we can't have these incentives in place so that another building will come up and get an extra story because they put in bigger trees. That comes first. It may have been reasonable at the time that this change was made in 2008, but it was done also, in relationship, and this is what we had planned for Davie Road. And we thought all of, at least I did, I thought all of the density was going to go along Davie Road. And it just hurts me to see the nature of Orange Drive change. And it can change. We can go into the modern age, but it doesn't have to be this intensive. So, based on some of the things I've heard, and talking about the traffic, it always concerns me when the developer is the one that gets the traffic study, because, you can get 3 traffic studies, one from the developer, one from a third party, and one from the town, and each one will probably tell you something different. And it depends on who hires you. So that concerns me as well. And we think more of numbers than we do of people sometimes, and that hurts too. So what I am going to do, and I'm going to give my reasoning for it, I'm going to ask to table this. I want to table it to look at alternative plans for the first floor because a suggestion was made to me. I want that to be looked at, and because they said if something about converting it to more apartments, it would mean more density, but it would take away the commercial, which would improve traffic a little bit. So I'd like to have that looked at. I would like to get in writing from the county what they're going to do with the lighting situation. I'm not going to just depend on you saying, here, we're going to try our best to do it, and then when it doesn't happen, like when we asked for a traffic light, they said, yeah, we asked for the traffic light, but they said they couldn't do it. And then we, where were we? So I want to see that in writing. On the inclusionary housing, I would rather see the affordable housing there than taking the in lieu of. I've done that before. I think it's wonderful that they have the lofts, that they're going to be a little less expensive. But I think my road has been, in the last few things that we've done, is to accept the 20% of the affordable housing and not the in lieu of payment, because I think that would be more important. I want you to take a look at that. I think it would only be fair, too, to have the full council here for the final deliberation, and hopefully we'll see Carol return shortly. And I want the town to do a traffic study. I would feel more comfortable. So those are my reasonings for asking for a tabling, and I would appreciate if my council would go along with me. Yes.
I'd like to ask staff about how much it is for a traffic study if we were to do one for this project. Do you have an estimate? I thought we did have somebody come in and look at this.
Hi, good evening. My name is Moshe Rahman. I'm traffic consultant. I actually don't have exact number, but I think 12 to 15,000, something like that.
I don't know. I can't understand you.
12 to 1,500.
12 to 15,000, I guess.
12 to 1,500.
Not 1,000. It's not.
Oh, 1,000.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't have the exact number right now.
Yeah, you're with our consultant,
Yes.
Government.
Yes.
And so have you already reviewed Mr. Hall's study and his firm's?
Yes, I did.
Do you concur, or did you have a different analysis?
No, actually, I actually suggested them to coordinate with Broward County to do the optimization so that you already know existing is failing level of service. So after they did optimization is a little bit better, but it's, the main reason is actually
well, I would like to study that and talk to him directly, because having a very difficult time understanding him. So, and this time through the tabling, it would give me the opportunity to speak with you as well.
Okay, I still have the floor and asking questions.
I know,
Okay.
but I just wanted to, because I can't understand what he's saying.
Okay. Jonathan, you want to just repeat what he said, because I understood it, so that everyone
He did
could
have
hear.
the opportunity to review the study and review it, and it's not that it's not an inaccurate study. The numbers are what they came up with, because we'll come up with the same numbers.
Right. In most traffic studies, the numbers are the numbers, and you're based on TAS zones, or they don't even do that anymore,
Right.
but based on what the state puts out for traffic and so forth on densities, right? Okay,
Yes.
so that was my assumption. So to me, spending another $12,000 really wouldn't be worth it if we thought at this point in time we would come up with a different option. As an engineer, do you also, with Cap Government, do you think that there's anything else, knowing that the street currently fails, if you had any other recommendations, Jonathan, regarding?
We are, doing the improvements on Orange Drive and making that additional lane. We are looking at the bridge, and that bridge will, the conceptual bridge widening will also look at the northbound 61st, very similar to 61st southbound. A lane adding an additional lane going northbound will allow those right turns to freely make that, and that will take a number of trips at that intersection off, those that want to go right on Griffin. Those are things that we can implement faster than 5 years, and look at those types of things where we see, that where the study had indicated there were some difficulties. So there are things that there are some things we can't do without a widening of the bridge. I mean, that's just,
Right.
those are fixed assets that
We knew
just
we
can't.
needed that.
Yes.
It's been in the
Yes.
wish list for a while, but we just don't have the money to do it.
Yes.
So I
So
understand.
those, other things are fixed, but those are some things that we can do, and that's why the direction to look at the bridge.
Yeah, the traffic study, the traffic light, rather, is something that I think we could do even more immediate, working with the county. That's the whole crux of that, is making sure that the county, so at least at the very least, we need to be on the same page as trying to get that done and accomplished anyway. So that the flow of traffic on 61st, even on the south side, is a lot more flowing and not just backing up all the time at peak hours. It seems like you said three times a day, not just morning and evening. So I would support that, Mayor, on that suggestion. Regarding the inclusionary housing instead of dollars, on this project, I'd like to see that on especially this project, we're actually bringing the level of quality up a notch to be able to get people in the community who will frequent the restaurants and so forth. And I do believe that that is appropriate there, not to have, to allow for the in lieu of, but not in all cases. I mean, these are project by project that I think it's important to look at. I am strongly opposed to giving up any commercial on the bottom. I do believe that, like I said before, when Wall Street might fail us, and they had in the past economy quite a few years ago, then your commercial Main Street, if you will, mom and pop shops, and that helps sustain you. You need to have those local businesses, and that's what we're trying to achieve, even more importantly, on the downtown Davie Road area, which I've been pushing for on a number of projects. I think it's important for us to make sure we have the appropriate balance of business and commercial on the first floors of those projects. So this is keeping true to what I feel. I would like to revisit the tree trade caliper for a fourth floor issue, because it's not a given. It was never intended to be a given as right. So if that's the interpretation, then maybe we need to clarify that it too is on a case-by-case basis and not just a developer right to say we're going to put in, bigger caliper trees and therefore we deserve to have a fourth story. So I'd like to look at that. I am not in favor of tabling it just because there are other issues that are probably out of my control as far as the traffic light and the bridge at this point. So I do believe that this is something that is needed and supported by the community. There's only been maybe 4 people that have voiced opposition, although I do respect the people who did voice their opposition. I respect them very much because I've known them for a long, long time. But I do believe that this is consistent with the developments we're trying to put in quality of life, and that's to look at and try to work these problems out. I would have to support it at this time.
Mayor?
Let me just say one thing. When you talk about that you believe in the commercial, if you look at Zona Village, if you look at University Point, if you look at the other homes on Griffin Road, just west of the old Davie School, they still haven't filled their commercial properties. I find that the mixed use has been somewhat of a failure, and to keep pushing for something so that half of the spots are going to be empty doesn't serve a purpose. The only purpose it serves is probably when they're empty, the person that owns the property doesn't mind because it's probably a tax write-off. So, losing the commercial there when you have a couple of office buildings nearby, I just can't agree with you on that. I still stand by the inclusionary affordable housing, and I think it would be nice if we had a full council for this final decision, and I certainly would appreciate if someone would support me in tabling this.
Mayor, I have a couple questions before I go to the tabling there with you. Approximately how long do you all anticipate this project taking to be built? A couple years?
At least. My guess is if we were to receive approval today, we've probably got 6 months to put together our final plans for the building permit, go through the building permit process. It's probably at the earliest we would be able to start would be September or fall next year.
And then you're looking at probably 2 years of
And
construction?
2 years worth of construction, yeah, because we have a garage included as well.
Okay. And I want to make one comment on this, that one of the things they'll have to go through when they go for a permit is it has to go through the fire department.
That's correct.
And that's a tough thing to get past. And if the fire department doesn't think something's not safe, they're going to say it. That they're not going to rubber stamp it. That's a tough one to get
There's no
through.
leeway.
I can guarantee you that. But Mayor, I respect you, and I think this thing is probably going to be built there. But if it's important to you to table now, let me ask you this, because this is just something. Because you mentioned the commercial. What if they got rid of the commercial and they went ahead and put residential in that floor?
Well, that's what we were talking about, and we want to do it a little more
But you want to
feasibly.
lower it, but I'm saying.
Yeah, but they can't do that. It still has to be 4.
Right.
Then they would put apartments on the first floor. But to do that, the number of apartments would increase. But it would also reduce the traffic because of the loss of the commercial. And so that's why I want to, it was just a very simple discussion, nothing formally with Mr. Laystrom. And I would like us to be able to look at that a little more further to see if that is something.
I would make a motion to table, but I don't want it to be open in. I don't want to do that to them. If we can say, to December 6th or something, to the next month or so,
Yeah.
I would support you on that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I thought I was losing
You
it
need a
here.
second. We
Yes,
need a-
I'll second it. I have the ability to do that.
All right, then I'll make a motion to table till, when is the next meeting? Is it?
No, I think that, I was going to say till December 8th. Or, no, oh, no.
We've been at this a long, long time going through this process.
Well, how long do you think it would take us to
You're
discuss
not-
this?
Take us no time to decide even tonight whether to have the residential or commercial. It's a choice of 4,200 square feet of commercial or maximum of 6 units would fit at 700 square feet per person. You could make that choice tonight, and
No,
I said was we're okay either way. We like the retail use, but as I told you, yes, it does reduce the average daily trips a little bit.
And you know how I am. I don't like to do this, this kind of additions without actually seeing it in writing. So I wouldn't want to make that decision right off the cuff. So next month then.
Okay, I'll go for next month.
Second meeting in October?
I'll go for that.
Okay.
That would be October 18th.
That's October 18th? Okay. I'll make that motion to table till October 18th.
I would love Michelle to make the second, although I did.
You may not have the votes.
No?
Call the
Well,
question.
if we vote to table, you have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
No.
So it's a 2-2. What does that do?
A 2-2 is not passing.
Huh?
A 2-2 is not a passing motion.
So now we have to vote on it,
Now you have to vote on what?
the item.
Yeah, now we have to vote on the item.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that's going to have to be put into this.
I'll make a motion.
No.
that
Let me
we-
read everything off first. The motion must include on one of your T cards, it lists all those staff recommendations. There were 5 of them, and there were 4, and we'll have to read them all off, 4 from the P&Z board. And I would like to add to that the removal of the commercial, the addition of the inclusionary housing, and getting in writing from the county the situation with the traffic lights, and starting the process, and I think it's FDOT that handles the traffic light, if I'm not mistaken, on no, the county does that too, on the corner of Griffin, even though that's a state road? The county maintains it, okay. So begin the discussion with the county on that traffic light so that we can put a right turn, a continuous right turn lane. That's my recommendation for the.
But we need to talk about now the commercial about, am I under the impression that you would accept that?
Yeah, that was his, in lieu of.
But you want the commercial?
Right.
Absolutely.
Do you want the commercial? Okay.
I just want
That's why I would like to have the full
votes.
council here for this vote. Because we keep going 2-2.
No, we haven't. This is the
Haven't had
first
the
time
vote.
ever.
Well, that's the feeling I'm getting.
In anybody's
So,
absence, this
you
is
know,
the first time ever.
it feels like, you know, I'm losing, you all say, I respect you, obviously, you don't.
We just have a difference of opinion, that's all. And
Yeah.
when we
It is.
shake hands and leave the dais, we will
Yeah.
still respect each
But you know
other.
how passionate I am
I
about
am
things like
too.
this.
I love
but-
this town just as much.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to do, Mayor, is I'd like to make a motion to approve, I guess we'll take the plat first.
No, I'm taking the site plan first. I think you should take the site plan first. That's more complicated. I'm sorry, Eric. There's no more
What-
public.
Does
sorry.
it matter whether
What
we
about the
take the
public
plat
notice?
or
What
the?
about public notification? What happened to that?
Eric?
Mr. Attorney, Weinthal, may I vote on the plat first? Or-
It's at the leisure of the board
Okay.
president.
You
And,
wanna-
and before we vote, if I may make the comment, obviously I don't know how the vote's going to go, but a 2-2 vote does automatically table the item, and that's a 2-2 vote when voting on to approve the item.
Correct. So with the
That's clear
site
as mud to
plan,
me. I
Yeah.
didn't understand that, I'm
okay,
sorry.
so Mayor.
If it's a 2-2
we'll
vote,
on
it
this-
automatically tables it.
If it's a 2-2 vote to approve the item, it will, or deny the item, it will automatically table it. Earlier, it was a vote to table the item, so it's different.
So where do we,
So
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the site plan with the 5 recommendations by staff and the 4 recommendations from P&Z. I'd like to maintain the commercial downstairs on the first floor. I do agree that we should get in writing a letter to the county regarding the lights and the timing. And again, you know, we'll continue to work on our part on the permitting process anyway, about the fire and all that, to make sure that it's adequate. That's my motion.
I'd like to amend it to include the inclusionary housing.
To include.
Yeah, to have them, instead of in lieu of, is to have the inclusionary housing included.
Under
you okay with
discussion,
that?
under discussion,
Do we
Mayor?
have a comment on that, Bill?
Under discussion, how many units would that be, and what would it look like?
Well, it's 136
Right.
units. We get the incentive for the extra floor at 7.5% anyway. So we chose this one because of similar reasons that you expressed, which were just this particular area. I anticipated that there would be certain pushback to having affordable housing located there. And, with the single family much closer, that's something more you'd be doing on the corner parcels than you would be doing here. So we're not supporting that.
I don't accept the amendment. My goal is to try to lift the community in that area.
Is there a second?
Motion
You get a second?
to second my motion?
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Councilmember Whitman,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis,
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey,
Yes.
Mayor Paul,
No.
motion passes.
I'm sorry, folks. I was pledged to help save a little bit of the rural and...
How can you say that's rural?
Yeah.
The two-lane road is the last remnant of what was a rural road.
Have you driven that road lately?
Oh, yeah, it's terrible. That's another reason why we don't want to make it any worse. That's all right. We're done. Let's vote on the
We
plat.
have one more to.
You have a plat you have to vote on.
I'll make a motion to approve number 8, the plat for Midtown Davie.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Councilmember Whitman,
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis,
Yes.
Mayor Paul,
No.
motion passes.
We appreciate your time.
Item number 10, public hearing is a code amendment. Mr. Weinthal, would you read the ordinance by title, please?
Yes, Mayor. An ordinance of the Town of Davie, Florida, amending the following sections of Chapter 12, Land Development Code, Article 3, Use Regulations, Article 7, Parking, Article 10, Planning and Development, Article 13, Special Planning Areas and Districts, Division 5, United Ranches Overlay, Division 9, Griffin Corridor District, Division 10, Regional Activity Center, Academical Village District, RAC-AV, Division 11, Regional Activity Center Districts, Division 12, Transit-Oriented Corridor, Division 14, Definitions, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Is there anybody wishing to speak for or against that item? Yeah, come forward at this time. Seeing none, is there any comments from council? Okay. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Approved.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Starkey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis,
Yes.
Mayor Paul,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Public hearing, the variance was tabled. No committee or board appointments, no old or new business. Our next council meeting is October 4th. Our mayor and council member comments. Start with Councilmember Whitman.
Thank you, Mayor. On Wednesday, September 27th, there is a planned roadway meeting for the upgrades along Southwest 30th Street. The meeting will take place right here at the Pine Island Multipurpose Center at 6:30 p.m. If you reside, attend school, or use Southwest 30th Street to get from one place to the next, please feel free to attend the meeting. Our engineering team will be providing a lot of important information, including the improvements, timeline, and other construction information. Mark your calendars so you don't miss out. I want to thank our engineering team and administrators for hosting the Orange Drive improvement meeting last week. Mayor, thank you for your support and for attending. We want to make sure we get the community educated and involved in these projects. We only have a few more days left to drop off diaper donations at our town facilities. The collection drive ends September 24th. Please participate because it's going to be a worthy cause. As a reminder, this weekend is a Celebration Davie event at the rodeo grounds. It will begin at 2 p.m., and there will be plenty of fun activities for everyone to enjoy. If you are looking for the perfect fall event, stop by and participate in some of the planned activities. I'd like to wish a happy birthday to Deputy Town Administrator Marciano tomorrow. And that's all for me, Mayor. Thanks.
Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. For our residents and visitors who are using the Pine Island Pool, that facility is closed until further notice. Our team is making upgrades and improvements to the facility, so unfortunately, it is closed while the renovations are underway. We will be posting the reopening on the town's website and social media as soon as those improvements are completed. The town is also looking for sustainable award nominees. We always have some wonderful nominees each year, and we know that this year we will be no different. Applications must be submitted by September 28, 2023, no later than 5 p.m. to Lise Bassinet. This is a prestigious recognition to add to your business, school, or nonprofit organization. I also want to thank Osdale and Public Works doing the underground workout, and they're off hiatus. The contractor had to cut the road to put the new pipe in, and they had not filled that up. And that was really rough for a number of weeks for the residents, especially with the small cars, the lower cars. When they would hit that area, it was really rough. And they have come back since you asked them, and they put a temporary paving over that, so it's much nicer for everyone around there. And I got to say this, everyone knows we need that, so nobody has complained to me about the work being done there. And it's rough work. There's a lot of stuff going on there. So I want to say thank you for that, because they did it right away, and everyone's happy about it. So I appreciate it. That's all for me, Mayor. Thank you.
Susan?
One of the good things about being last is, almost last, is you don't have to say some of the other things that we've all discussed. So I'm going to just end by saying, Mayor, congratulations on your award, well deserved. Put in many years of dedicated service, and I appreciate that personally. Thank you.
Thank you.
And happy birthday, Moss.
Okay. I'd like to remind everybody we have something new coming, a sewing and modeling class. There's going to be 4 sessions. Sewing will be 3 hours long, Friday for adults, Saturday for youth, and then also modeling on Fridays from 4:15 to 5:30 right here at the Multipurpose Center. I think it's, Jeff, starting in October? What? Yes. Yeah, okay, starting in October, okay. And I'm very happy about the resolution that we passed on the historic markers, and I already have a few locations in mind, and the committee might also, so at some point, I guess, who would I discuss that with? Okay, David, we'll talk about that, okay? Excuse me. Let me remind you that we had the Orange Drive workshop, that action was going to be taken to make sure that 61st coming south from the industrial area would not have tractor trailers on it, and it would be that staff was going to be working on making that a no-through trucking street. And then I'm wondering if that also would apply to construction vehicles. So that's an interesting point. One of the residents at that meeting that we had at Sunny Lake said that the police enforcement needed to be beefed up there. Oh, the chief left. And then he said, a few tickets would work. He says, because a lot of times that, once you get a ticket and you have to pay for it, you're not going to do it again. I want the council to be aware of some approvals that you've made in the past and some changes that have occurred. The coffee shop that was approved for Pine Island and Orange, that we spent so much time on trying to get it right because we weren't quite sure that it would work there at the curve. Guess what? It's for sale. And the sign says, approved site plan. So, now we're going to have a situation where the property is flipping and we don't know whether they're going to adhere to that site plan or come in for something else. I didn't see it, but somebody mentioned to me that the gas station that we voted on that was supposed to make all the changes has renovated and painted and done a few more things there to improve the property. So my question is, maybe Mr. Lemack, somebody can find out, are they planning to go forward with what we approved? Are they going to flip that too? And they just decided to renovate and leave it as it is? I'd really like to know about that. I'm very pleased to announce the approval of our budget. Our staff, Mr. Lemack, Mr. Ackerman, and everybody else worked very diligently on that, and we appreciate that hard work. I mentioned that after the budget hearing, but I wanted to also put it on record at this point. Now to how we're going to, I think I made it clear in my discussion on Midtown, but I want to make it clear that we need to immediately study and come up with some solutions in cleaning up the ordinances. What concerns me is while we're working on it, somebody might come in and say, oh, we better hurry up and do this before they change it, and then we'll fit in. And this is where I need staff to help us. If you've got a moratorium even pending, and that's why I said, I think if we put a moratorium just on that one section, I have here Orange Drive from Davie Road to the Turnpike, and then north to approximately 41st on the north. And I can't read my own writing on something on the south. And also 61st Avenue, south of Griffin Road from Davie Road to 58th Avenue. This would allow us the time to make those changes to save some more area from going to very heavy density and further disturbing the traffic. I'd like to discuss that in terms of the feasibility. And I've made it a very narrow area because I'm really concerned that once we've had this project come in, that others are going to come in and want to do something of the same. What else did I want to do? And I'm sure we're going to have to talk with Mr. Weinthal and Mr. Lemack and Mr. Quigley. Will get together and discuss that further.
Mayor, this is Rick. Just for clarification, how do you want to proceed that tonight? And we should get clarification on that this evening on whether a portion of the, I'll defer to Mr. Weinthal about a portion of the code as far as either moratorium or zoning in progress, and whether we can
Well,
do.
we could do zoning in progress too, then.
I was thinking of zoning in progress is what I was thinking.
Okay.
If you're okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Anything that would keep it from, anything from moving forward until we made those changes in that ordinance.
And it's specific to the incentives?
Yes.
And specific
And
to
the
the area
variations.
defined. All right, if we could have council give us that direction, is that the direction from
Do
everybody?
you agree with that?
I don't think we can do that now because it's not publicly noticed on the subject content of a moratorium or a zoning in progress. We would have to put it on the agenda as new business to discuss it. I do not think we can discuss it now. Further, I think, and that's been our process in the past, because there's a lot of other nuances. I don't want to open a door and have things change when the public hasn't had the opportunity to do so. The second, I'd like additional information about that particular section, and maybe we could distribute that to council, because it's not a given right that they're allowed to, as we said earlier, for the fourth floor just because they're putting in bigger caliper trees. So, you know, that was specifically for the downtown area and why that was done there. So I'd like to see that code and section, and if you could distribute that to council. So if you wanted to, if the mayor wants to put it on as an agenda item in the future,
What
she
I
can
just
do
did,
so.
what I just did is said I want to discuss it. So, you know,
We can't
Mr.
discuss it
Lamack is
now.
asking for the direction. I wasn't even doing that, so.
Right, just for the
Mr.
clarification.
Weinthal, what do you suggest?
If you want to give us direction at this time to bring something back,
Please, at the next meeting.
It would be at we would notice it and we could discuss at the meeting then. This is just for direction, not for discussion.
Yeah,
And
I know.
whatever the council wants us to do, we will do.
I'm going to ask you then to put it on as quickly as you can for discussion.
Everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
And Mayor, my suggestion would be we would do that, and most likely it might be a good opportunity for a workshop once we get a lot more information to have that discussion.
Yeah. But my concern is to get it done before somebody else comes in, you know, with trying to use the same variations and incentives.
Yeah, that could be done at the next meeting, once you
Okay.
take that action and we advertise it, and if it's voted upon to do that, that would put a hold on everything other than what has already been applied for today.
Right.
That's in process.
And Councilwoman Starkey, to answer your question, at the next meeting when it's brought forth, then you guys can have the discussion
Right.
and vote whichever way council deems appropriate.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
And for the record, I'm not in support of a moratorium. I would, or a zoning in progress that would stop totally all development. But if an applicant comes forward during that process, they have to know that if they apply somehow, that they will be subject to possible changes related to
I
it.
think that's what the zoning in progress does.
Exactly,
correct?
but you'd have to
Yeah.
be clear on letting them know that ahead of time, which
Well,
is
they-
why I want it
We've done that
discussed.
before, and then
Right.
staff has done that.
Right.
So we've gone through both zoning in progress and moratoriums in the past. Okay, thank you. Mr. Lamack?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I do have a couple of things tonight, and I just want to expand on your comments and appreciate it on staff. But regarding the approval of the fiscal year 2024 budget, our extensive and transparent community outreach to provide information, seek input, and have a dialogue with our residents has once again been extremely valuable. I want to express my gratitude to the Budget and Finance team led by Mr. Ackerman. His dedicated team of members not only have expertise in the budget and finance world, but they also bring creativity, passion, and camaraderie to the process. I want to extend thanks to Colleen, Lucy, Armel, and Darlene, and the others that are behind the curtain, Moss, Phil, our department directors, and of course all our employees for their participation. Mayor, to you, vice mayor, and council members, despite long and short-range planning and being fiscally responsible, each year brings its own set of challenges. However, once again, your community concern for our residents, business owners, the environment, and our employees has resulted in approving the necessary elements for our community service. The public may only see limited hearings and workshop that brings us to this point, but what many don't know is in addition to the public workshops and hearings, we spend voluminous hours individually. I do with you and staff with you as you represent the diverse and collective needs of our wonderful community. And for this, I'm extremely blessed and honored to work with each of you. I just want to say thank you very much. And I do have one last thing that I'd like to share with you, and this one is a little bit bittersweet, and I wanted to share with you. Tonight will be the final council meeting that will have our public relations coordinator, Suzette Rodriguez, with us. Effective October 4th, she's going to be moving on for a new venture. So
No.
I just want to tell you, Suzette has begun her career with the town of Davie in January 2019 as a public relations assistant and quickly rose to the position of public relations coordinator. She has successfully led many programs, including the 2020 census, Town Float and Initiative, the town's website revamping, training new town staff, graphic design, and editing videos, just to name a few. While serving in her capacity, Suzette also found time to enroll and complete a Master's of Science degree in marketing with high honors from Florida International University School of Business. And the accolades don't stop there. She earned certifications in Google Ads Analytics, Tableau, did I say that right? How do you like that? Interactive sales, and received and learned a Six Sigma Green Belt certifications, a process that teaches one management skills, leadership, risk assessment, finances, and team building. While we're sad to see Suzette go, we're happy about her successes, wish her all the best in her endeavors, and hopefully, and I know this, she won't forget about us, and will continue to visit her Davie family from time to time. So hope you join me in wishing Suzette well. Well, thank you.
You know, I prepared for this just in case. But good evening, everyone. Suzette Rodriguez, Public Relations Coordinator for the last time. I stand before you today at my last Davie Council meeting as a member of staff with mixed emotions as I bid farewell to the incredible community of Davie. It has been an honor and a privilege to work alongside such dedicated individuals in service of this town. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for the opportunity to be a part of the community. The support and camaraderie I have experienced here have truly been remarkable. I am also truly grateful for the invaluable guidance and collaboration I've received from my colleagues, town officials, and the wonderful residents of Davie. Your unwavering support has truly enriched my time here and made it exceptionally memorable. As I embark on my new journey, please know that the memories of my time in Davie will hold a special place in my heart. I will carry the lessons, friendships, and experiences with me as I move forward. Once again, thank you for the incredible opportunity, and I hope our paths cross again in the future. Farewell, Davie, for now, and best wishes to you all.
You brought a tear to my eye. We love you. It's another example of we train the best. And can you tell us where you're going? What, so that we can come and haunt you?
Oh, no. I will be the public information officer at the city of Dania Beach.
Wow.
Right next door. So I will come down and visit you whenever I get a chance.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Good luck.
Good luck. We'll miss you. Aw. Aw. Anything else, Mr. Lemay? Mr. Weinthal?
Just a brief reminder, Yom Kippur is Monday.
What?
Yom Kippur.
Oh, Yom Kippur,
Yes.
that's right. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. That is all. Everyone
Thank
have a
you.
good
So
night.
for all those who must atone.
There are no objections? We're adjourned.